slowly systems develop. And they are, like everything in the United Nations, plagued by the politics of the institution. And so you have things that develop on different tracks, things that are more immune to the political factors and others that are vulnerable to the political factors. And as the system grows, that those problems, they remain in a way. But, today we have a mix. So, just to talk very briefly about commissions of inquiry, we have issues about setting up commissions of inquiry where they require enough of the stars to line up politically for that to take place. And that means that for some people, some countries, there'll never be a commission of inquiry. I did a lot of work in the last few years on Sri Lanka and on the end of the conflict with the Tamil Tigers. There's no commission of inquiry. Just can't get it through. You can't get it through. And that's just, hopefully things will change. And in some cases, things do change. And they evolve to make it more, so there's less of this double standard within the United Nations. I'm not going to speak about any more specific examples. I want to make it very clear. I want everybody to be treated fairly and equally in human rights. And it is a great concern that the double standards, the idea that some people are going to be picked on and others are going to be sheltered, it discredits it. I totally agree. And that's what, So, there are two ways of dealing with a situation like that. One is you say, we're going to fight to work that out of the system, and the other is you turn your back on it, and that's just, different people will react differently to that, I suppose. But I'm not arguing with you at all about the threat that poses to the credibility of the system. Absolutely true. And I think that's widely acknowledged, when the reforms were made to the human rights system about a decade ago. They were proposed by Kofi Annan and the Secretary General of the UN. They were endorsed by Louise Arbour, who was the High Commissioner for Human Rights. I said, look, this has discredited this system because we've got to fix it. But finally, it was hard to fix by just creating another political organ, because the political organ will represent the world, finally. And that's one of the constant complaints about the Human Rights Council. I think some countries would think the Human Rights Council will only be good if every country, to get in, you have to basically come from Northern Europe. But that's not going to be credible either. So the problem is, it's got to represent the world. It's got to represent the world. The whole world's got to be there for the system to work globally. And that means that you can't have rules that say, well, only good countries from Northern Europe get to be members of it or something. That's the problem with trying to find a solution to it. But there is no solution to it. I'm just saying there's lots of double standards in this system. And, I travel around the world, so I don't just argue with people in the United States about double standards. I argue with them in Burma and Sri Lanka. Well, I can't go into Sri Lanka anymore. I can't go into Burma anymore. I'm gradually eliminating countries where I can visit. Pretty soon it'll just be London and Paris and the United States. Maybe even the United States, they'll probably kick me out. But even in the countries, I say China, the death penalty has dropped hugely in recent years. The places where it's really still bad and where it may even be increasing, it's a handful of countries in the Middle East. So it's Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Yemen. That's it. And that's the core of it.
Syria.
The different.
Well, they, of course, have it. It doesn't seem that it's not even relevant to talk about death penalty in the context of what's going on in Syria. But